You probably look at the market today when you look at altcoins and be like, holy fuck, man, I missed out. It's going up like crazy. Some altcoins, they 2, 3 x'd already. Some did like 10%, some did 40%. It's kind of all over the place. And you definitely feel the FOMO right now. So I want to talk a little bit about that because it's really a matter of perspective. I got a lot of comments on the channel of people that said like, yo, you said not to buy altcoins and now I missed out. Or, hey, is it ever going back down again? And I just want to share my view on it, okay? And the art of making money in crypto is by not getting too emotional, and that's really hard. Even the best traders, the best investors, they struggle with that, but it's really something you have to stick to. So let's take a look at what the hell I'm talking about today. In the meantime, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We've built this channel in the bear market. Everybody that's here deserves a good bull market whenever it starts. So first, are we in a bull market? It depends a little bit on how you look at it. I can now look at Bitcoin. This is the weekly chart. Look at Bitcoin and say like, yeah, this is at least not a bear market right now, right? Do you want to call this a bull market? You could. It depends a little bit. Like last cycle, we went from 3K all the way to 14. And people definitely called that a bull market. That growth was twice as high as that we have right now. Yeah, still we came down quite a lot. And yeah, and in my opinion, this was really the bull market. The pre-halving years are usually all over the place. Usually, that's what I said before as well. Like the first half of the pre-halving year, it goes up, and the second half of the pre-halving year, it goes down. If we take a look at the pre-halving year before that, we had the bottom also in January, and basically half of the year we went up, and in July we came down again as well, and then we started to moon. Now that was also my expectation for this cycle. Half of the year we went up, we went down, but now we started going up again. So could it be that this was the move down for Bitcoin from 32K to 24 and a half? It could. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I am not convinced about Bitcoin's next move at the moment. And you might feel like, yo, what I got to do with that information? Yeah, sorry, but I cannot predict everything right here. It's very hard to say what Bitcoin is going to do. Um, the positive thing about Bitcoin and the strong thing about Bitcoin is that we had like a lot of stuff going on in this bear market. We had all these bankruptcies, all these scams. We had a worldwide pandemic. There are two wars going on right now. It's complete shit. But still, price wise, this was Bitcoin's best bear market so far. Bitcoin went down with, well, just 77%. The other bear markets, we went down more. And also, if you look at the time that Bitcoin did that, on the monthly chart, yeah, Bitcoin here, it was a 14 months downwards trend. And in the last bear market, it lasted from the top to the bottom 12 months. If we look what this bear market had for us, this was 12 months, right? So time-wise, it wasn't longer, and price-wise, it was better. So you could definitely say, like, hey, despite everything that happened and all the bad news, Bitcoin hold up pretty well, right? There are diminishing returns, right? Like Bitcoin is probably not gonna pull off a 200x or 180x again from the bottom like it did before, but there are also diminishing losses. People are now starting to realize, like, hey, Bitcoin is there to stay. Back in 2015, yeah, people did not had that confidence, of course. There, we also went down 77%, but from that point, it didn't stop. That was $270, but we came all the way down to 170. It's a huge difference. It's almost twice as much. So people couldn't really take a look at previous cycles there and say like, yeah, okay, but it will be coming back. Definitely not. Here it was actual panic. I did not feel that this bear market at all. Like some people around me that were never really that deep in crypto, they taught me like, yeah, isn't crypto dead? And but the people that were actually in crypto before, they never really gave up on it. And I think that won't happen as well. Now, could it be that Bitcoin still goes down a lot? Of course. But I also won't be surprised if Bitcoin just blasts to 45K for now. Altcoins, I'm like, that's more clear to me. But Bitcoin is not really that clear to me. All I want to say is, hey, in this cycle, we did a 4x. People definitely thought that the bull market was back, and we came all the way down, like from 14K to 4K. Okay, so people now also think it's a bull market, while this is not. This is half of what we did right here. So can't we come down here? You could say like, yeah, but here it was because of COVID. Yeah, that's partially true. But without COVID, this was the COVID wick, this thing right here, this big ass wick, right? But even without that wick, Bitcoin also came down 50% from the top. Yeah, if we would have done that right now, 50%, it will take Bitcoin to 17.5K. That's without pandemic kind of shit, right? So yeah, there's probably a recession coming, but apart from that, there could always be a black swan like we had over here, right? And that's always possible. And what could it be? Yeah, I don't know. Therefore it's called a black swan, of course. So I have no idea. But let me put it like this. I'm cautious, right? I won't be surprised if Bitcoin just goes to like $40,000 or so, but I also won't be surprised if Bitcoin goes back to 20 or 25. I won't be surprised. The good thing is I don't care because I'm dollar costing into Bitcoin. That's my strategy to later buy altcoins with. And if you look at how altcoins are looking on their Bitcoin pair, yeah, they're going down big time, right? So I haven't at least missed out on anything. I can basically buy the bottom, and that's what I did a couple of videos ago. I said, hey, I'm converting now some Bitcoin into altcoins because I think this is going to bounce. And yeah, look right here. It is bouncing quite beautiful. The dominance is going down a little bit right here. If we take a look at the dominance without stables, as you see, we have this resistance right here that we have been in 2020. That was support. Now we finally approached that level. So therefore I said like, hey guys, it's pretty possible that we will get a pullback right now and that altcoins will run against Bitcoin. They start to show a little strength right now. However, if you have dollars, what's the plan? Well, I can tell you, I have a lot of dollars right now. And putting a lot of my dollars right now into Bitcoin at the top of this run so far doesn't feel that good, right? You could have also said that over here. You could have also said that over here. You could have also said that over here. Eventually, we are higher, of course. But then again, we could have set that over here. And what happened? We went from 25K all the way back down to 20. Here, we went from 31K all the way back down to 25. Here, we went from 32K all the way back down to 25. There's a big green candle. Of course, it could happen that it just blasts through. But I would say, like, be very careful about buying the tops in the market right now. And then you might look at altcoins and be like, shit, I missed out. This run was huge. Well, let me tell you a little bit about that. This is CeDeFi. A lot of charts look like this right now. And I'm happy that CeDeFi is doing well. As you may know, that's my biggest bag because I'm making money with launch pads. So I don't necessarily need to play the altcoin market. I just have my CeDeFi bag and I can participate in pre-sales. And yeah, there are refund policies. So it's a lot more safe, of course. Therefore, I feel a lot more comfortable also by saying like, hey, you know what? I'm not really buying money, big altcoins with big money at this moment. If you don't do that, if you don't have these kind of pre-sales or other money streams, then I understand that FOMO could be a real thing. However, let's take a look at this chart. So this is on the hour chart, and you can see right here, it went from 53 cents all the way to 87. Yeah, that's of course a huge run up, right? It did a 66%. Some altcoins did less, some altcoins did more. But overall, you see a lot of charts that look like this, and it's understandable that you feel the FOMO. Then I just want to ask you, what are you in for crypto? Like, ask yourself, don't try to answer me, but ask yourself, why am I into crypto? Am I into crypto for these short-term little moves? This is really a little move right here, right? And I know in the middle of it, it doesn't look like little. It looks like a fuckload, like 66%. Damn. But then if you look at the weekly, for example, right, on a lot of these altcoins, you'll be like, yeah, is this really that big? Look what we had in a bull run. This is bull run kind of stuff. Here, it went up 227% in a week, right? The week after, another 70%. Couple of red weeks, but then again, 30%. 1%, nothing. And then another 70%. Like that compounds. And here again, 75%, right? These are bull market moves, right? And that's what I'm in for. So I can look at such a chart and be like, oh, fuck, man, I feel the FOMO right here. But I can also look at this chart and be like, yeah, what's there really to FOMO about, right? Because what is this doing? Yeah, I can see on this chart, for example, very clear. We had a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, a lower high so far. Low, lower low, lower low, lower low. That's a downtrend. Okay, we can all agree on that. Are you, like, I am not really a fan of buying the downtrend, right? Because if I do that, then I could have bought over here, or over here, or over here, or maybe even over here. But it all resulted in a loss, right? So again, if you are trading this, yeah, then these moves are really sweet, really sweet. But if you are a long-term investor, aka you want to invest in this bear market and you want to cash out in the bull market, then you have to ask yourself, like, should I get too emotional over, these kind of moves right here? Yeah, for me, the answer is no. I don't try to get too emotional over it, really, because what it is, I don't try to time the bottom anyway, right? So if this was the bottom, yeah, okay, so be it. What did I miss out on? On a 60% move, right? And that's fine. But if I think like, hey, yeah, but it's going, I don't know, maybe here, yeah, that's 800% move. I can still get in and make a lot of money, right? By trying to time the bottom, you only have the risk that it wasn't the bottom. So you bought it here, you bought it here, you bought it here, and you will end up lower, right? And if it's part of your DCA strategy, that's fine, but don't try to apply DCA too soon as well, right? Because you could have DCA this whole way down. And if your average is somewhere around here, yeah, you're still in a like 50% loss right now, even after this pump. So this pump means nothing for you, right? And that's a waste. That's really a waste. I know this is Seedify, but if we look again, if we look at the general altcoin market right now, when it comes to Bitcoin, you can clearly see that this whole year it's been making lower highs or higher highs and higher lows, right? It's been going up. Bitcoin is super strong. Like, this is a big ass uptrend. If we take a look at the altcoin market and we exclude stable coins, you see this. This is not a downtrend, or this is not an uptrend. This is a downtrend, right? And yeah, in all fairness, it depends on how you draw it, right? I can draw it like this, where these lines all connect, and then we broke out. I can also draw it like this, right? Where we connect this dot and this one, and we are now struggling to break out, right? So it depends a little bit. But even if you say like, yeah, nah, this is the correct line, and we broke out, right? Cool, but still, it's a lower high, right? What I really need to see is that the altcoin market is finally putting in a higher high right now, right? And again, I sometimes get a lot of comments still from people who say like, yeah, but you missed out, and thanks to you, I missed out. You're getting too emotional, right? We are making a lower high so far, right? What if you missed out on this one? Then was that really a bad thing at the end of the day? Or what if you missed out on this one or on this one? so far we all every time went lower, right? We went lower. So I'm just here sitting, being very cautious, like, yeah, guys, of course, this time now could be different. But what on the chart is actually suggesting that it is? I'm trying to prevent a loss of 40%. I rather don't have that, right? Because that's not like eventually you will get higher and you will make money, but that's all money wasted that you could have really allocated lower. Even now, you could buy cheaper than that you could over here, while everybody was talking about an alt season over there. Like it wasn't, right? It wasn't. It resulted in a 40% crash for the altcoin market in general. And there are always altcoins outperforming. Again, but yeah, like if you try to chase the exceptions, good luck. You can be lucky with that. I'm not really trying to be lucky though. I'm trying to be a little more strategic. I'm in with some big money, and I try to be a little cautious, to be honest. And that strategy doesn't apply for everybody, right? But therefore, I've been stacking up Bitcoin, and I can now buy altcoins at quite low levels, right? This basically sitting at the cycle bottom right now. So I haven't missed out. Like I saved myself a lot of money on this whole way down, and I now can say like, okay, if it has a short-term bounce, I can buy. Overall, I do still think that we will go lower than this, right? Because eventually Bitcoin is the one that's looking bullish, right? Not altcoins, Bitcoin. The altcoin market is only going up because Bitcoin is going up. Therefore, you see the dominance going up. Otherwise, the dominance would be going down. It's very simple. This is the chart that shows, hey, is Bitcoin the winner or are altcoins the winner? Well, in this case, Bitcoin is the big winner right here. So for altcoins, I'm still looking like, okay, we have highs, lower highs, lower highs. We have a low, a low, a low, a low, a low. Let's see how it plays out. And at a certain point, it will break out. At a certain point, it will, right? Then what do? Well, I'm waiting for that confirmation, really. I want to see it make a higher high, right? At least this high, but to be really honest, this is more of a confirmed high. So for me, the altcoin market has to at least go up another 14-15%, right? If it then closes, retest and bounce, then I could say like, oh, okay, something is confirmed right now. Now I can at least buy altcoins knowing that the downtrend as we know it is over. Did I miss out on a little bit right here? Yes, but who cares if I miss out on a 2 or 3x while I have a potential 10, 20x in front of me? Doesn't really matter, because it's also a matter of saving money. So you actually have that money to allocate to make that 20x. What's the purpose of throwing all your money away right here? To eventually, with the little money you have left, catch the bottom and then go up with that. I don't know. I don't play it like that. There are some like crazy outperformers in this market at the moment. Definitely, like Solana has been doing crazy, and tokens on the Solana network have been doing really well as well. Like this is Star Atlas Polis. I happen to had an entry right here because if you know about the Patreon, there's a link down below. I've built a Moonbag crypto portfolio with some really low cap coins, and this was the highest cap, but there are like $1 million market cap coins in there that I allocate a little bit of money in there just to play the casino with a little money, right? With a little money. And every time that portfolio has been doing amazing, and every time I get my initial, I just take it back, right? And now I have a free bag of Polis tokens, for example. This everything I have right now is completely free, can't go wrong right there. But also my Falcon Forge bag is completely free by now, because I said many times before, you can of course trade the range, right? It's clear. Bitcoin broke out. Falcon Forge is a great project, but it didn't do shit, right? This is what it did. So what I'm trying to say is that, look, although, for example, Bitcoin went from 15K to 35, Falcon Forged here, this was where Bitcoin was sitting so low. Falcon Forge was sitting at the same region as where it is right now, while Bitcoin did more than a 2x, right? Altcoins are running behind so hard. Therefore, you see the Bitcoin pair on these altcoins still being in a downtrend and not in a sideways trend like this, right? My goal now is really to build some free bags, really. I want to have a position, but I'm not going to allocate my money into it really yet. So I'm just building free bags right now. And again, like I wanted to say, there are altcoins, like for example Solana, which have been doing absolutely incredible. Like, wow, like Solana is a good project. I've said that many times before. It's fast, it's cheap. Every time I use it, it's click, pop, done. I love it. There's a lot of hate for Solana. I don't get it. I don't really get it. Yeah, because the network gets congested sometimes. But if it's so fast and so busy, then what you want, right? There are a lot of like Cardano or something like that. Yeah, that's like compare that to Solana, of course. Then ADA is always up, like, but nobody really uses it, right? And it's slow, and it's like, nah, it's not for me. That's just an example. No hate through ADA, but like, Cardano or Solana is a better chain. Let's be honest, right? And now it starts to show good gaming projects are being built on Solana. I must say, by the way, but it could, of course, it could be broken. But I do think that this whole area right here of like $45, $50 is a huge resistance for Solana. But maybe it breaks. Maybe it breaks. If that happens, by the way, then I can see Solana go to 75. I mean, let's talk something bullish. Solana is just ripping for the complete year. One of the reasons, though, is that it also came down quite hard, 96%, right? Let's imagine that if Bitcoin went down 96%, like it doesn't sound like a lot, like 90 or 96, but what if Bitcoin would have gone down 96%? Like Bitcoin would have been sitting at $2,500. That's what Solana did, like crazy. So it got wrecked so hard that of course the bounce is also bigger because the liquidity has been taken away from the project. So there are outperformers right now. Near has been doing really well. This is against the Bitcoin pair. It has a good bounce on the dollar pair. It had a fantastic bounce as well from $1 to 160 almost. And there are projects that have been steadily going up, like Nakamoto Games has been absolutely ripping. I know I got in here at like very low levels, sold it way too soon. Hey, but I didn't lose money. Yeah, and do you miss out then? Yeah. Don't get too emotional over it. I think that's the most important thing. Otherwise, you're really gonna wreck yourself. Because there are a lot of people now buying Nakamoto Games. To be honest, I love the project, but I cannot put a single dime into this right now. After what it did, from like 5 cents to $1, it did a 20x, and now you're gonna buy it? Yeah, I don't know. I just look at it and be like, okay, yeah, no, well, if we miss a 20x, then next, right? There are more altcoins that are going to do that. So yeah, now this is how I look at the market at the moment. Bitcoin, not sure. It could rip. It could keep on ripping. To be honest, I would say like, hey, we were in this upwards trend right here. We started here, we found support here, we found support here, we broke it, which was very bearish for Bitcoin. And you see, it was a pretty big ass red candle of like 10% down in a single week. But Bitcoin consolidated, found very strong support at 25K and had an insane bounce. But the last thing I do want to say is that if you feel like, hey, I have stables right now, and Bitcoin is maybe a little bit too high for me, and I want some exposure to the altcoin market, what should you take a look at if you want to buy it with stables? Overall, I would say look at the overall altcoin market first. So not any specific altcoin yet, but the overall altcoin market first. This is how it looks like. Lower lows, lower highs. So the altcoin market, say whatever you want to say, although there's a lot of hype these days and the sentiment is good, the trend is still bearish, okay? So wait for a confirmation. Again, do you miss out on some gains? Yeah, you probably will, right? But if you try to time the bottom in the first place, you are not doing it right. You don't want to do that, okay? And there's nothing wrong with waiting, right? Look at this chart. Look at this chart. Hasn't waiting paid off? Hasn't waiting really paid off? The people that were waiting here could have got it here or here or here or here, but everything was lower than here, right? As long as the chart is looking like that, I'll be like, let's wait a little bit. You can, of course, start to dollar cost into your favorite altcoins, because I said like, hey, you shouldn't try to time the bottom, and it's not what I'm trying to do right here. But I do see like, hey, 30% down from this point at least. The chances are extremely high, right? Why? Because that would mean a lower low, and so far it has been making lower lows. So why all of a sudden stop, right? We should at least keep it to consideration that it's still likely. Don't with every low or high think like, ah, shit, I miss out and let's allocate right now. Every single time we did that, it hasn't paid off a couple of weeks later. And again, yeah, worst case, like, and I think that this is how you should draw, by the way. Worst case, the market rips, right? It goes up, it has a retest, and then it goes, right? Buy the retest. You will buy at the same level as the people that now buy the resistance, right? So the entry is not that different, but your risk reward is completely different right there, because this is no longer resistance. That's at least for this trend line right here. But what I do think is super important to wrap it up with is, like I said before, the Bitcoin ETF news really pumped Bitcoin, but it also really pumped the Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance over the last for the last 10 weeks or so, it has been nothing but green, and now it looks like we are trying to make our first week red. But the week isn't over yet, so I don't know. But the Bitcoin dominance has been the most bullish of everything, right? If we look at Bitcoin, it has at least some red candles there. The Bitcoin dominance didn't. So the Bitcoin dominance is even more bullish than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is even more bullish than altcoins. So if the Bitcoin dominance is going up, yeah, it means altcoins are getting wrecked against Bitcoin. Now we have seen what this fake ETF news did to the Bitcoin dominance. So I am only here sitting thinking like, yeah, if we now get a real ETF, I think the Bitcoin dominance is going to blast to the moon, which means that altcoins are going to crash extremely hard against Bitcoin. It doesn't mean they will crash against that dollar pair. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Because if Bitcoin goes to 50K, the dominance could go up as well. It could still mean that altcoins also go up on the dollar pair. But it does mean that Bitcoin is running a lot harder than altcoins. So if the reward is higher, we all know that the risk is lower. I'm still a big proponent of saying like, hey, be careful with altcoins. Bitcoin is in this kind of market the place where you want to be. It showed, right? And again, I'm not talking about your exceptions right here. These are always there. But if you look at the complete market, Bitcoin dominance is up, which means Bitcoin wins. And if the Bitcoin dominance goes down, it means alt season. Yeah, this trend is not looking bearish to me yet. And I think the Bitcoin dominance definitely has some more fuel to go up. So I want to wrap it up right there. If you do feel like, hey, but I'm now going to trade some altcoins, I'm going to trade them for my Bitcoin like I'm doing. I've bought these altcoins right here on their Bitcoin pair with my Bitcoin. They're all nice and green today, so that's good to see. If you feel like, hey, I'm going to do that, there's a Bybit link down below. Let me show something in this video at least, right? You can trade them right there. I'm doing it as well. And it's been going very well so far. So I want to wrap it up with that. Stay safe, make some good money, guys. And I'll talk to you tomorrow about alt season.